Hi everyone, my name is Jen and this is Bee's House of Plants, where we talk about all things houseplant and home design. Welcome back! So today I want to do a where are they now type of video. I've done a few of these in the past, so I'll make sure to link those in the description box. But this is basically just a video where I show you some of the plants that I hauled a really long time ago and talk about how they're doing now. But before we get started, I have new glasses. They're not new, they're actually very old because I broke my regular pair of glasses, so I have to go wear my backup old glasses. I haven't worn these since I was like a freshman in college, so when I was like 18. Not only do I feel very, very young in these, but these also don't have the like anti-glare coating that my other glasses have, so I can see my filming lights in the like reflection of the glasses. That's kind of annoying me, so I hope that doesn't annoy you too much. I am getting new glasses made, so hopefully we don't have to deal with this for too long. Alright, so for today we are going to be focusing on the plants that I hauled in January and February of 2020. This was like the peak of my plant buying. Like I was buying plants constantly, so there's actually quite a few plants to go over. Okay, so let's go in the order of when I posted these videos. So the very first video I posted in January of 2020 is called The Happiest Plant Mail Ever, which is definitely very true. So this is when my plant friend Vintage Plants on Instagram surprised me by sending me a couple of wish list plants. So the first plant that she sent me was two Mandula Pothos, which to this day I've still never seen sold in California, so I'm so lucky that she sent these to me. So she sent me two. So this is what one of them looks like now. It's in a 6-inch pot and it's still in soil. Look at that root system. Is that pretty crazy? So this is doing really, really well. For a while it was getting a little bit tall, so it got a little bit too close to my grow lights. So some of the leaves have a little bit of light damage, but otherwise I think it's doing really, really well. And then the other one unfortunately got a little bit less lucky. So this one was in my self-watering pot, and it was in soil, but it was in a self-watering pot, so it ended up getting really, really bad root rot. So I ended up just having to completely cut off the entire root system and rerooting it, but it rerooted very quickly. It's just fine. So then I water propagated, and then very recently, I think like 2 days ago, I moved it into LECA. So now it's in LECA and it's looking much, much happier. And then the last plant that she sent me was a Cebu Blue Pothos. So this is what the Cebu Blue Pothos looks like now. I have it currently in my east facing window in a hanging pot, and I think because it's in a hanging pot it gets a little bit dehydrated at times, but it's trailing. It's getting actually quite long. I'm thinking about actually converting this plant to LECA, just because I want to convert like all of my plants to LECA, and two, I would actually really love to have this plant climb up a totem or a moss panel or something, because I would really like to see the mature Cebu Blue Pothos, the one with like the fenestrations in the leaves. I think that would be really, really cool. But overall, all of the plants from this haul are still alive and they are doing well. The next video I posted on the 23rd of January is one from Gromer's Garden on Etsy, and this is when I hauled my White Ghost Euphorbia because I saw it in a Becca Del Plants video, which is so typical of me. I ended up actually selling this plant back in like March of last year, not March. So I actually ended up selling this plant late last year. I really just like wasn't feeling it anymore. It took forever to root. When I sold it, it like barely had any roots still. And because it barely had any roots, it was constantly toppling over because there was nothing kind of like just holding it into the soil. So it accidentally pricked me like all the time, and so by the end I was really, really frustrated with accidentally getting hurt by this plant. So I ended up getting rid of it. And then right after that, I posted my rare mystery box haul video. I posted that on the 26th of January, and then I think a few months later I actually did a follow-up video on how those mystery box cuttings were doing. So this was when I basically just gave a random person a bunch of money and they sent me cuttings, and I had no idea what was in the box. Okay, so the very first plant in this box is a Monstera Peru, and that one did do well. I was able to root it. I think I water propagated it for a little while, and then eventually I moved it into moss, and I held on for it for quite a while until it actually put out a new leaf. But then I ended up selling it because I wasn't loving it. I just don't love the texture of the Monstera Peru, so I ended up decluttering that one. And then the next one that was in the box is a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, which is doing amazing. I just cut my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma in my last video, so I'm going to put in a clip of it before I cut it, and then I'll show you what it looks like now that I cut it. So I am now water propagating. Pretty much every single leaf in this jar is from that Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, except for this section, which is from a different Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. But it was doing really, really amazing. It did so amazing that it even outgrew the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I had before I bought this one. So I'm really, really happy about the progress of that plant. I think it's one of those plants that like is doing the best in my entire collection. I do have it in LECA. I believe I water propagated it, and then I moved into moss for a little while before moving it into LECA, and it's just doing like so amazing now. And then I have bad news for the next two plant that were in that box. The first one is the Syngonium Moonshine. I was really excited about this plant. It's the Syngonium that has the red backing, but unfortunately it had a little bit of cold damage, which I don't think I realized when I got it, or maybe I did. No, I think I did, because I remember sending her a photo of the cold damage. Anyways, it did not last very long. I think it was still alive when I did my initial update video, but it is long gone now. It never recovered from the cold damage, and it just kind of died like a slow death. Anyways, so the next plant on this list unfortunately suffered the same fate. It was a Monstera Adansonii, which also had cold damage, so unfortunately that one died. It never rooted. And then the last plant I got in this mystery box video is the Philadelphian pedatum. Let me show you my Philadelphian pedatum. Look how amazing this plant looks now, and it came from that teeny tiny 2-leaf cutting, and now it's this huge plant. And every new leaf I get, it is maturing more and more. So this was like one of the leaves, and this was like the next one, and this is the newest one that came out, where now you can really see the different lobes. So I'm really happy about this plant. It's growing really quickly. This one is in LECA. I'm probably gonna have to upgrade it to a 6-inch pot very soon. So really love this plant. So the next plant that I hauled on the 31st of January is my wishlist plant haul. So I got this from Facebook in the Facebook Splurge and Purge page, and that was the Scindapsus Chabili Moonlight. As you can see, it basically looks exactly the same from when I hauled it. It grew one leaf, and it doesn't even really look like it's working on growing a second leaf. So I used to have this one here in this room under the grow lights, and it honestly just did nothing. So eventually I moved it to my east facing window, and it still has done absolutely nothing. I do have the Scindapsus Jade satin plant that I not recently, but I moved to LECA, and that one seems to be doing really, really well. So I think I'm going to do the same with this plant. LECA honestly is just like my plan for everything, and it's my strategy for all of my plants. But if you can see here, there are 2 aerial roots in this plant, and I think I'm going to chop just below those 2 aerial roots, and I'm just going to reroot the whole thing and then move it into LECA so that hopefully I can get better results. Okay, so the next haul is from the 4th of February. It's my haul from Backwoods Boutique, and if you didn't hear my drama with Backwoods Boutiques last year, I'll make sure to link that video in the description box. But honestly, I just like wasn't really happy with my order, and I think it's still like the order that I'm still the most salty about. So let me give you an update on all of those plants. So the first plant that I ordered from Backwoods Boutique is a plant called the Syngonium Moonshine. You see the footage, it is quite small when I got it, and honestly it looked really, really freaking sad for a really long time. And it was in soil that was like completely soaking wet. So I ended up with a little bit of root rot, which, you know, I ended up cutting off, and it was fine. And then I rehabbed it for a while, and now it's in LECA, and this is what it looks like. It looks actually really full. And I think it's doing so much better now that it's in LECA. Look at the roots. They're like poking out at the bottom. Isn't that crazy? I do think that this Syngonium is just like a small leaf variety of Syngonium, because despite the plant doing very well now and looking very, very bushy, the leaves haven't really gotten much bigger than like this size. And I do think this is kind of like a unique minty color. So this is the Syngonium Moonshine. Let me show you like a regular Syngonium. So this is a plant that I converted into like I'm dripping water everywhere now. So this is a plant that I just converted into LECA. This is just like a regular Syngonium that you can get anywhere. And these are them next to each other. Okay, I don't think you can tell on camera like at all, but in real life, this one is more like a limey green color, and this one's more like a minty green color. But the leaves on this one do get much bigger than the leaves on this one. So yeah, I'm not unhappy with this plant. I just think that I paid a lot of money for a very, very small specimen, and it wasn't shipped very well. Or it was like shipped in like soaking wet soil. The packaging was actually really good. But so yeah, so this is the update on the Syngonium Moonshine, and there goes all my LECA. Okay, the next plant I got in that order is the Raven ZZ. In the past year, the Raven ZZ has managed to push out a whopping 1 stalk. So this is it. This is all that it managed to grow. It doesn't even look like the plant is about to put out another stalk like anytime soon. Like, I know this is a fairly slow growing plant, but it is very slow. And I like definitely overpaid so much for it. I do like how it looks, and I do think that it's very photogenic, which is really, really fun. But honestly, I'm kind of just unimpressed with it at the moment. Okay, so the next one that I got in this order is the Philadelphian Birkin. I didn't end up keeping any of the plugs. I ended up selling off most of them, and most of them went to my friend Broderick, who bought I think like 3 of the plugs from me. So I'm gonna shoot him a message to see if he still has any of them and how they're doing. But the last I heard from him, the Birkin plugs weren't doing anything. They are still extremely small, like don't really have any variegation on them at all, and he's been growing them in like very high humidity with like grow lights, and still nothing is happening. So that's really, really annoying. Honestly, my experience with the Birkin, I don't know where my Birkin is. It's on this shelf somewhere. Honestly, my experience with the Birkin has also been kind of like meh. My Birkin is also really like not growing at all either, but I'm kind of annoyed that the Birkin plugs, despite it being like a complete year already, still looks so small and not Birkin-like at all, especially now that the Birkin is just like a very easily accessible plant. And then the last plant, I think this one is the biggest success. This is the Mysotes petola that I got from them. So this is what my Mysotes petola looks like now. I think it's actually doing very, very well. And this last leaf is huge. I don't think that this plant is ever captured right on camera. It is so much more stunning than the camera ever gives it credit for. But this one rooted up pretty much immediately after I got it, and it's been growing pretty well and pretty steadily ever since then. I have a whole video on my Mysotes petola care, so if you're interested in that, I'll make sure to link that down in the description box. But yeah, this is the only plant that I'm like really, really happy with from that plant haul. Okay, so the video I posted after that is the one that's called like It's Even Prettier in Real Life, and I have very bad news. So that was the video where I unboxed my Peperomia pink marble, which from that video looked pretty like meh, but then I had it for a while and it ended up looking freaking amazing. So I'll put the photo that I always use. I love this plant so much. It unfortunately ended up getting stem rot, which is very annoying. And I honestly think that I will eventually rebuy this plant because I loved it so, so much. But yeah, unfortunately that plant is dead. Okay, so the very last plant that I have to update you on is my Monstera Constellation that I hauled in my NSC Tropicals video. So this was like a dream plant for me for so long, and I honestly got this plant at such a good price. It was like right before all of the prices went up for plants in general. So I had it for a while and it didn't do anything for like the longest time, and then I accidentally knocked it off of my shelf, so it bent a stem, which actually ended up fusing itself back together. So the stem is actually like pretty okay now. And then after that, it put out 2 new leaves. It put out this one, which is so pretty. And then also put out this new leaf, which is also once again very pretty. But unfortunately, it got root rot at the end of last year. So I tried to salvage all of the roots for a while, but it also got root rot at like the worst time possible when it just had like a lot going on. So I couldn't save any of the roots, and I decided it was just better to just reroot the whole thing and then move it into LECA. So I chopped off all of the roots. I chopped it off pretty close, and it's been in water, and so far we have this one nice chunky root, and then I also see the beginning of another root right here. So I think this one is going to be fine. So this one is currently in some water with a air stone in a, I guess, a hydroponic setup. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in a fully hydroponic setup or if I'm going to move it into semi-hydro after it roots, but either way, I think this one is going to be totally fine. Despite having like its entire root system chopped off, I think it actually still looks quite good. So yeah, I'm really happy about where the Constellation is at so far. Alright, so those are all of the plants that I have to update you on. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.